to another video. So for today I have a plan with me, a regular old weekly plan with me, something I haven't done in a while, mostly because this voiceovering stuff has been kind of hard to do, and then I was getting used to these new inserts and this new planner system and just never quite ready to film. However, this week I thought, you know what, let's go for it. So as you can see, I've taken my insert out of the traveler's notebook cover just because I feel like that's how I prefer to plan. It's flatter and easier to lay stickers down properly. And then afterwards, I don't mind writing in it and adding stuff to it in the notebook. But for this full setup and when I'm working in it for an extended period of time, I do like to have it outside of the strings. My inserts are from Lights Planner Action. This particular one is one of her all-inclusive inserts. I think this is layout D, which has the half columns with the lines on it. And the lines actually don't work that well for me. I bought them for December, January, and February. But starting in March, I actually am going to be switching to layout A, where you have blank columns. But same overall layout. And the kit that I'm planning with is from Planner Choco, and it is one of, I don't even remember the name. It was just a kit that I bought a while back. And I'm planning with the leftovers. So I use this kit for my memory planner in my vertical Erin Condren, and now I'm using stickers that I don't think I'll use in this insert. And the first thing I'm doing is adding some date covers, also from Planner Choco, not from the kit though, from a multicolor printable file. And I just picked the purple ones that I thought matched best with the kit. It's not a perfect match, and it kind of never will be because I use the kit's date covers in my main memory spread. But this isn't bad, and it's not important to me that the colors match exactly. In fact, that's kind of boring for me to have the same exact colors everywhere. So I don't mind bringing in something a little different that complements, even if it's not exactly the same. And at this point in the video, I have been keeping things real time so that I have enough time to get through this intro, but now we are going to move into a time lapse. Now I've moved it to about 3 times speed, I believe, as I finish laying down the date covers and then flip back to make sure that I'm on the week that I think I am. And this is the week of January the 20th through the 26th. Next, I'm going in to put some glitter headers down beneath my date covers, which is something that I do most of the time because I enjoy having a bit of a division between my date covers and the rest of the stuff to really make the date stand out as a important header of sorts. And I just picked the blue ones here because I thought it was a nice blue, and I already had purple there, and then the other two colors I didn't like quite as much. Now I'm going in and whiting out some text so that I can replace it with headers and things that more closely match the kit. So I laid down a to-do header, and then I'm framing this note box with glitter headers because I don't actually use it. So I use this note box decoratively, and I am using those glitter headers to frame this extra fashion girl sticker that I'm putting down. I laid down a next week sticker. And then I'm also going to go in and lay down the this week sticker, and I do that because I like to have 2 different little sections. So under the this week section, I usually put down a checklist box so that I can have an at a glance look at what's coming up in the next week, and it's always just kind of there and in my view and on my mind when I'm looking at this week and thinking about what I want to do, especially as we near the weekend, which I use for preparing for the next week. And then on the this week section, I put down the 2 habit trackers that come with the kit. Even though I do most of my habit tracking in my power sheets, I do enjoy having a couple here, the 2 that I feel like I want to focus on most in a week, because it helps me focus on a couple at a time and at least do those. So I like to just kind of narrow down habits and goals on like in scale and with priorities. So I put the 2 most important ones here, and that way I know to at least focus on those, and then if I get to the others, like, that's awesome. And then I cap that off with a decorative flag sticker that I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to write there, but it's there in case I need it. And so I referenced the next week section from the last week to make sure that I have things that I need to write down and that I know what they all are. And the first thing I write for Monday is that midterm grades were due. And that's just to make sure that by midterm, all our grade books are updated and to give students an idea of where they stand. And then I used a half box to mark that Monday was Martin Luther King Day and my school had programming. So we didn't cancel school, but we had an all-school conference dedicated to having conversations about race and diversity and different things like that. There were a few different student-run sessions, and it was pretty cool. Then at the bottom of Monday, I put a small bow checklist separated from everything else with a bit of washi just to have a bit more space for anything else that comes up. I wanted my weekly plan with me to go up on Monday, but because I am recording this on Wednesday, that did not happen. But I get it up this week, hopefully. And then I think that's it for right now. Moving on to Tuesday, I start marking that I work in the evening on Tuesday, but that was not true because I swapped evening work days with someone else, and so I actually was working Monday evening instead. And that also ended up not being the case because we swapped back later, but at the time, that's how things were. Next, I used a quarter box to mark that I had a new faculty meeting on Tuesday, which is just a meeting that all new faculty, people who are new to the school this year, occasionally have to get up to date on like the school calendar events that are coming up, different deadlines teachers have that we might not have had to meet before, and things like that. Then I used an appointment label to mark that my department head was coming to observe one of my classes to get feedback and also, to be able to give me feedback on how I'm doing overall and get a sense of just to see how things are, really. Cut 4 spaces instead of 6. On Wednesday, the first thing I marked is that we had an appointment at a mechanic shop to fix the brake lines on our car, which are pretty rusted and are not passing inspection. But we actually ended up changing that, which irritated me a little bit because we went all the way to where the garage is, which is 20 minutes from where we live. And then the guy was like, well, actually, I don't know 100% sure I can finish the job by the end of the day, but if you move it so that it's first thing in the morning, say 7 a.m. on Friday, then I can guarantee that I'll have your car done by the end of the day. And it just kind of bothered me that he let us schedule it for Wednesday and come all the way down there, knowing that this was a job that he might not be able to finish by the end of the day. And then while we were standing there, talked us into not getting it done on Wednesday, and we drove all the way down there. So that irritated me. But we stayed in the area just to work at like a Starbucks or something because I had all my stuff with me and I didn't want to go home and not have done anything while we were in town. I finished Wednesday off with a checklist box that I cut down to 5 spaces because I didn't have room for 6. Bell was going to be automatically withdrawn on that day, and so that I remembered that was going to happen. And it's unusually high this month because I added the rest of my family onto my Verizon plan because it was going to be way more cost efficient for me to be part of a family plan instead of a single line, which is what I had been doing. And and I can't switch places because I live in a fairly rural area, and Verizon is one of the only services that actually works reliably where I am. So I asked them to move on to my plan so that it would be a little cheaper for me, and when they come visit, can also have cell phone service because it has been a problem in the past when my family comes to visit me and then they can't call because they're part of a smaller cell phone plan. Friday, I had another bill due. Spotify gets withdrawn then, so I wanted to mark that. And under both days, I just added some today headers and some checklists. And the same thing happened on Saturday where I added a checklist sticker. Most of the time on the weekends, I really just put a checklist sticker down. If I'm not working then, I don't have something specific planned, and so I just like to have checklists to write things down, but also have some decoration going on, even though I don't know exactly if I'll need this icon or that icon or an appointment box or what. I find the checklist to be very versatile and adds color, which is really all I want out of this spread. It's not really big enough to add any other kind of note, so I enjoy just having a bit of extra decoration down there. I'm finally filling in my habits. I'm marking that I want to track my reading and how often I'm up by 6:30 a.m. this week. And that's because I really want to work on waking up earlier, because I find that I am more productive when I wake up earlier, especially in the winter when it gets dark really early in the evening, because as soon as the sun goes down, I'm like tired and just want to go to sleep. And so I don't get as much done in the evenings. But the earlier I can wake up, the more I feel like I can get done. And then reading, there's just so much I want to read, and if I don't make time for it, I won't ever do it. In the to-do section, I jotted down a few things that I've been kind of moving for a couple of weeks now, but I wanted to keep them in mind. Most of them are related to our car. We just got our car at the beginning of the year, and so it has a lot of stuff we need to do. We need to get it inspected and change the oil and get car insurance. And right now we're just working to make it pass inspection. It was an older model, a 2006, that we got very, very cheap. And so we were expecting it to need some work, and it does. So we're trying to prioritize that. We also have a weekly overview spread before the main week. And so I always start with the main week because that's where most of my time is spent during the week. And then I use this weekly overview section to just hold stuff that I don't necessarily need to know immediately and that I might not even get done that week, but they're just notes, to-do lists, the things that can wait and aren't as urgent as the stuff I put in the to-do list that's part of my main weekly view. And like with the first weekly section, I white out the main black text so that I can put appropriate headers over it to match the kit. And I use the weekly section to mark YouTube videos, and then this note section I fill up with another decorative box because I don't really use it for anything in particular. To do and to buy headers, I frame those boxes with some decoration to tie everything in with the other spread. Note section at the bottom very often, so I actually just put a bit of washi across the top there, and most of the time I don't use it, but I enjoy knowing that it's there just in case I need it. And now I'm flipping back and forth to see what things I want to add to my to buy section. These are things that are not like important for me to get anytime soon, but I want to keep in the forefront of my mind so that as soon as I do have the money for them, they're the first things that I'm going to buy. I've used this spread for a few different things. Once I was going on a trip, so I used it for a packing list. Once I was using it to plan YouTube videos, and for the past couple of weeks, I use it just to hand letter a quote there because I enjoy getting some practice with my hand lettering, even though I'm not bullet journaling anymore right now. And I find that that has been working quite well, so I'll probably continue to do that for some time. With some Stardust washi, the one that came in the November sub box, I believe, the Simply Gilded November subscription box. I go back and forth between subscribing to the Simply Gilded monthly box just because sometimes I feel like I don't use all the stuff in it and I have too much washi, and then other times I feel like I want to have more washi, but I'm really bad at choosing like what I want from her website, so I like just getting some random stuff sent to me that I figure out how to use as I go. So whenever I feel like I want more washi, I subscribe for a few months, and then when I feel like I'm at a good place for a while, I unsubscribe for a few months, and it all works out. Match the kit from my Super Tips. I have a swatch page in one of my inserts, and all my Super Tips are numbered, so their corresponding number on the marker matches the number that I've put in my insert, and that works out very well because the Crayola Super Tip cap color doesn't always look exactly like the color will look once it's laid down on paper, And so having something to reference I find is very useful. It also makes it really easy for me to take whatever I'm trying to make the colors match and put it near the page and just see side by side whether they actually do match. It had more of a celestial kind of vibe going on. I picked a quote by Stephen Hawking to put in that left-hand page. And it says, "To confine our attention to terrestrial matters would be to limit the human spirit," by Stephen Hawking, and I thought that was interesting, so I decided to hand letter that. I also liked that it was a little longer because I wanted to be able to really play around with fonts this week. And so as you can see here, I mix up like monoline script with monoline all capitals with brush lettering the like biggest words, which for me were terrestrial and human spirit, and so I brush lettered those with the color and then wrote everything else out in pen. Almost done here, just putting the little credit that Stephen Hawking was the one who said this quote, at least according to the website I found. And then I'm going to go in and add a few more details to the lettering at the top. So I think the first thing I do is add some shadows. Yeah, I add a drop shadow to the calligraphied words in the colored marker. I use a Tombow brush pen for this. I can't remember exactly the Fudonosuke ones, and I've had this for a long time. I bought the set of two, and I got it a year, maybe almost 2 years ago now. I've had these markers, and one of them has started to go um, to like run out, but this one still works quite well, so I use it. What's some frequency? The rest of the section, the places where I only used pen, I wanted to add some color to kind of accent those words more often. So I color swatched over the monolined script words, and then I framed some of the like white space with this gray marker, just adding a few lines to make things look balanced. And that's it. I finished my spread for this week. This is how everything turned out. The all-inclusive inserts also have a grocery list and meal planning section that I don't add any decoration to. I use the grocery list to jot down groceries as I need them, and I use the meal planning section to actually track meals instead of plan them, to just write down what I ate that week so that I'm conscious of those decisions. Everything back in my traveler's notebook. And we've also gone back down to regular speed. Things aren't sped up anymore. And I'm giving you one more final flip through in the inserts. So that's everything from me today. If you've liked what you've seen, please be sure to like, comment, and or subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye!